Welcome back everyone to Dexterous Technologies. So I hope everyone liked my previous video on introduction to research writing. So today I'll be talking about the main aspect, the first aspect, that is choosing a topic. Before we get into the how, let's go into the why should we choose a topic, right? So in my opinion, the reason when you're doing research writing, it's a very tedious and it's a very meticulous process. It's a mentally straining process. So you need some kind of a driving force to push you to complete your research paper, right? So that's the why. So in my example, let's talk about one of the papers that I've written that was on vitiligo. So the reason I chose vitiligo and I had worked on it for almost a year and a half was because my mom suffers with vitiligo, right? So I'm emotionally attached to this particular topic, this particular research that I wanted to do. So it pushed me to finish that because I wanted to see my mom happy, because she wanted someone to talk about this aspect, and she's personally spoken to me about it, about the problems that she was facing. So I'm very emotionally and mentally connected to it, right? So that was my driving force. So choose a topic that makes you push to your limits, or again past your limits, to finish your research. Now, I have broken down the choosing a topic into multiple different strategies, right? We have broken it down into 5 strategies. Now let's go through them one by one. The first one is identifying your interest. Now, it is a very important aspect or strategy. It is very important for you to identify your interest, because yes, you're emotionally attached to something, but if you're not interested in it, then that initial driving force, you don't have it, right? You don't have that initial driving force. So for me, in my example of vitiligo, let's say my interest is biotechnology. I wanted to do biotechnology. I wanted to do something in molecular biology. So my topic and my field of interest were co-aligned. Right? So that made me work on it even more, because the more I learned about it, the more it intrigued my interest, the more it built my passion. Right? So that's one of the main strategies. That is, identifying your interest. The second one is considering assignment guidelines. Considering assignment guidelines. Now, what do I mean by considering assignment guidelines, or CAG? Now, I have the topic, but I don't know what to do next. It's like, okay, I'm in Bangalore, I have to go to Delhi, and I don't know, right? There's multiple different ways to go to Delhi, definitely, right? I can go through flight, I can take a connecting flight to Mumbai and then go to Delhi, or I can take a direct flight to Delhi, or I can go by train, right? Or I can go by bike, bus, etc. There's numerous ways. So similarly, to complete your research, there's numerous ways, right? There's no set path. You build your path, right? You build your path by sitting down and choosing your guidelines. Okay, this is my topic. So what do I do next? So for me, it was when I was working on vitiligo, the first and foremost guideline was, I don't know much about vitiligo. Right? I don't know the molecular aspect of vitiligo. I don't know the current research that is going on in vitiligo. So that was my first guideline. I have to understand. Now, in that, I have to go into depth, right? How do I understand? I could do bioinformatics studies. I could do lab work. I could do wet lab. I could do clinical studies. I can do in multiple different ways. The next one would be, I know what is vitiligo. Now, how do I go to the testing part of it? Next one, that would be, I could do in bioinformatics studies with different molecules, or I could do lab work where I could take multiple tissue samples and try to work on it, or I could do genetic studies, etc. So there are certain guidelines that you can set for your particular research, which you will know through something called as literature survey, right? We'll come back to that later. Next, the third one would be choosing your topic in a narrow sense or a broad sense. What do I mean by a narrow sense and a broad sense? Let's go through my same example again. Now, this I don't think most of you know, but there's multiple different types of vitiligo, right? So when I say a narrow sense, I could study about a particular type of vitiligo, every nook and cranny of it. I could understand the molecular concepts, I should understand the interactions, I could understand genetic aspects of it, I can understand any kind of external environmental stimulus, etc. But also there is a broader aspect where I can study about all the different types of vitiligo over the surface, right? Over the major concepts of them, and try to link it together and try to understand what is the main reason behind it. So both of them are true. Both of them are true to themselves. There are people who do narrow research. If you're deeply interested or invested into it, or you can do broader research if you're broadly curious about something. Now, coming to the fourth one, that is preliminary research. Like I was telling, it's very important in your guidelines to include preliminary research. Before you know the topic and you're very interested in the topic, yes, you're passionate about it, but now you have to understand the topic. Let's say you want to work on bioremediation. Now, what is bioremediation? I know what is bioremediation. So it's not only about the biological aspect of it. I have to understand the pollution aspect of it. I have to understand the societal aspect of it. So all of this falls under preliminary research, right? Understanding most of the broader aspects of every small thing that is related to your topic. That will come under preliminary research. Next comes is choosing overly broad or overly narrow topics, right? It's very good to choose a broader topic or a narrow topic, but you shouldn't be overly concerned about every nook and cranny about a certain topic. Like I could have selected one specific in my research, I could have selected one specific vitiligo, and I could have selected only one specific molecule and only studied on those two. But the outcome would not be that influential, right? So what I do, or I could have studied all the skin diseases, and in that vitiligo is a part of it. Right? That is again useless because there is not a lot of similarity between multiple skin diseases, right? So you have to choose. You shouldn't choose overly broad topic, or you shouldn't choose an overly narrow topic. That is very demeaning, or it's very difficult to do research on it, or it is a more time-consuming part of it, right? It can go up to years and or decades and stuff. Like Human Genome Project, which was a decade-old project. It took around 10-15 years to finish. So choosing a very narrow or a broad topic is a very bad choice. Now that's a few strategies that I can give you about choosing a topic for your research paper. I hope you all like my talk. I would like to love your feedback through the comment section, and please like, share and subscribe for Dexterous Technologies. Thank you.